I can check Twitter.
Yeah, it's on.
Both.
Yeah.
Great. All right. So here we are. Hey, everybody. Hey, team. We've got a new teammate here. Let's just cut to the chase. What's up, Giovanni?
Hi, how is everyone? How are you doing?
Fine,
So
Giovanni.
good. I have so many questions about your week, but let's just start by saying it's so good to have you here, my friend. And we'll share more about what Giovanni's doing here in just a minute. Just to open like we always do, this is the Gimbalabs weekly update. We go live every Friday because we really feel like we have a responsibility to the Cardano community just to let you know what we're up to. So we give some shout outs to people who have contributed. We talk about what we've done, what we're going to do next week, and some suggestions for you. So let's jump right in. So some shout outs. Roberto, you want to take the first one?
Yeah, I want to shout out Joey, who is a guy that joined us in the last all hands meeting on Tuesday, where I presented current ongoing things for Dandelion, future plans, so people can get to feel what's our goal with Dandelion and our proposal. Just to try to engage with some system administrators and DevOps that might join the meeting. Look at this, Joey was there. He reached me out yesterday asking me if, he told me that he deployed the thing, it was quick, so he wanted to hack it and to send some comments. Shout out to him. I want to thank you for trying Dandelion.
I want to make an extra shout out to Josh for introducing us to Joey. It's really fun to start these conversations with you guys. And Roberto, as you shared that story, it kind of reminds me of the way Kyle described getting involved with Cardano. He just said, "Oh, well, if I'm going to do this, can I build a wallet? What would that look like?" And one thing leads to another, and you learn these tools. So Joey, we're really excited to have you here on that journey. And similar to the way Joey jumped in, Andy, we want to shout out as well for responding to our call to action on Reddit. A lot of people reached out to me curious about what the next step would be to get more involved. And Andy was the one who showed up for the playground meeting. So we really appreciate you for taking that initiative and for kind of understanding our ethic here of jumping in, getting started on things and seeing what happens. So we're really excited to be starting this relationship with you. As it turns out, Joey and Andy are both from Central Texas. So we're happy to be interacting with the largest state in the United States and getting some people involved there. Julie, you want to talk about the next one?
Yeah, so we made some progress thanks to Gabe, Tom, and Alex. We now received the structure, the design structure from Tom and Alex for the webpage, and Gabe now is deep diving into the development. So we scope this to take some weeks, focusing mainly on finalizing the content to give you all a good overview of what is Gimbalabs, what we're doing, and how you can get involved in a very easy to understand, accessible way. So yeah, shout out to that team.
Oh my gosh, thank you to that team. And yeah, everything we're doing lately, we are very committed to trying to answer this question, what is Gimbalabs all about? So thank you for everybody who's given feedback towards that question. And we hope that feedback continues because we know we have a ways to go and we really, really want to get it right. I think there's a common thread between all of these today. People are showing up and it's really cool to see this. So I threw in a last minute shout out to Ohm Design. I hope it's pronounced Ohm Design. And we're going to meet for the first time later today. Actually, Steve Aldrich suggested to Ohm Design once hearing his idea that he reach out to us. So he just took initiative, showed up in the Gimbalabs chat, started asking questions. There were some really interesting conversations going on in there, and it seems like these ideas are substantial enough for us to at least talk about and try to figure out, like we do in a playground session, how plausible is this? What tech stack would we need in order to accomplish that? So kind of an impromptu playground happening later today. It'll be here in the Gimbalabs Discord, so all are welcome. Ohm and I are going to sit down and see what we can sketch out and see if there's something reasonable to start with there. So looking forward to that. And of course, last but not least for this week's shout out, just want to say welcome to our good friend Giovanni. Hey, do you want to take this one? Introduce yourself. What's up?
Yes, why not? Hi everyone. I'm extremely humbled and happy and excited at the same time to be here. This is fantastic. I'm really happy to be finally part of this family. And I know Roberto now for a number of months. He's been helping me out earlier on at the end of 2020 to just set up my stake pool. Then we started to know each other and then introduced me to the Gimbalabs family. I wasn't ready to be part of it just yet, but as maybe a few of you have seen on YouTube, I quit my job a few weeks ago. And when I saw the opportunity in Gimbalabs Open, I didn't think about it twice, and I was just like, I want to be part of this. So I met with Roberto, I met with James, and here I am. So my name is Giovanni. I have 16 years of commercial experience as a software developer. I've been building distributed systems and applications for this amount of time. I am Java and Scala developers. I've been working with the machine learning systems for the past 6 years. I am not a data scientist by trade, but I can talk a little bit data science and machine learning and artificial intelligence. So I'm really happy about that. And in the last 3-4 years, I got very close to Kubernetes. It is a technology that fascinates me and has been keeping me active and very passionate about this for the past few months and years. In fact, my stake pool that I wanted to set up as a challenge, I set up this Cardano stake pool with Kubernetes, but on Raspberry Pi, and that was one of the trickiest, but at the same time funny home projects that I've ever done. And it was that good, especially with the help of Roberto, that I decided to put it in mainnet, and it's up and running, and that was fantastic. So I really hope my knowledge and skills will be of use to Gimbalabs, and I'm really looking forward to the challenges that we're all gonna have and hopefully solve together.
Yeah, man, that was love at first sight when I saw your pool running on Raspberry and you were using Kubernetes. I said, this guy, come on, this is a stake pool that needs to be really successful. Everybody needs to hear this story because it's crazy. Yeah, I'm so glad you are joining us. I think you are already helping us, helping me personally to build things on my mind, and I cannot wait to start improving our garden, dandelion garden together. That's gonna be a lot of fun.
And it is, and especially with the last few weeks, with the Plutus Pioneer program starting, I applied for it, and likely I got into the first wave of pioneers. I really hope that I could use like the smart contracts experience in Haskell to be able to attack this kind of segment of the markets as soon as smart contracts gets released on Cardano. We want to be there. I want to be there, and we will be ready to develop and deploy these technologies as soon as they are available. So this is extremely exciting. I can't believe this is actually happening. So this is really good.
Can you imagine how many people, how many operators can we empower with this way of using smart contracts to monetize their infrastructure besides their stake pool? That's, man, can't wait.
It is, and we want to learn from the past. We've been talking long about this, Roberto, about how other blockchain fell into the started with a very strong concept of decentralization, and then they got cornered in these places where, at the end of the day, there was always like a single point of failure, as we love to call it in our industry. This is something that we want to avoid. This is something that we want to transfer, empower, push out to the boundaries, as this is like the philosophy of IOHK. They talk about this a lot, and it's now responsibility of the community to bring this on their shoulders and build upon it, and really empower as much as possible the community and individuals and small companies within the community, so that they can bring to life their own ideas, whether complex or small, whatever they are. But this is the beauty of distributed and decentralized technologies, and empower people is what it should be all about.
Yeah, man, that's. I'm so glad you mentioned specifically that Cardano's success on decentralization, it's not just an IOHK task. It's about the whole ecosystem, the whole community, to push for those strategies that leads us to the real, true decentralization. We will do our our job.
I want to apologize for my hat. I've actually been resisting from shaving for the 10th time. Here in Ireland, barbers are closed. So I'm just wearing a hat so that I can't show my messy hair, but there is a Cardano logo on it. So
yeah, good.
I want one of those.
I'll order it for you, for everyone.
Nice. Yeah, soon. If that could be a running joke on the weekly update, I'd be really happy. Giovanni, we are so thrilled to have you here. Yeah, and this. Yeah, I'm so excited to continue this conversation. You guys are providing the technology to make what you are talking about right now come true, this ethic of decentralization and the fact that it's on all of us. And obviously tools help, but you're also showing people how every step of the way, and it comes through so clearly. This is so much more than a technical project. So I'm so excited for what's in store for us and everybody who joins us in this work. So all of these big ideas, it comes down to doing a little bit every week, right? So what have we done this week? Oh man, I haven't watched the whole thing yet, but man, I love yesterday's Coding on Chain video. Tell us more about that, Roberto.
Yeah, so a challenge that we pursued from the beginning on Coding on Chain was to try and learn while we teach, while we learn how to build a live wallet. And we chose to build Live Wallet in JavaScript. Develop the front end along with the back end, the internals for the wallet at the same time. So I think that was helpful for maybe a bit more advanced users that could pay attention to all the moving pieces on such a development. But with this series, bashing wallets, we are going back to the roots, root account in Linux servers. We are going full command line, and we are trying to again expose the basics, the UTXO model, the hardened path of a wallet derivation, all that stuff, but focusing on single commands. So it's less distractful. And that's I call bash pseudo code because it allows you to write minimum functional code, but actually you cannot build really serious things on bash because it's not a full language. So yeah, I hope that that new series of building light wallets help, because for me it will help to have a bash-like wallet. I mean, we have CN Tools, which is a great wallet. We have Atadas scripts, which are a collection of scripts that are awesome. You can do almost everything from them, but both of them are focused on Cardano node as entry point or gateway to the blockchain. And with this series, we are gonna use Cardano GraphQL API to send transactions, query information, so you can have a light wallet. And leads to more details about the process, right? Because CLI, Cardano CLI is the first class citizen for supporting the blockchain. So yeah, you can do pretty much everything, and we can expose every detail we know about Cardano. So that's about coding on chain. We've been also exploring tools for our virtual office, a way to share calendars without using Google. Yeah, following our principles on choosing tools, open source tools. I've been playing with Nextcloud, which is a suite of tools. It started like a Dropbox on cloud, was part of Nextcloud. It started like a small project, and now you can install in that cloud many different applications like a calendar, an appointment tool. You can have conference rooms, and the good thing is you can install that on your Synology storage solution on your home. You can install that on the cloud. You can install that anywhere. We've decided to go for a small provider in Switzerland, but the cool thing is I can grab all those a backup basically from our virtual office and run it on my home. That's because it's open source. It's based on open standards. Yeah, we are taking ownership of our data and our infrastructure. Hopefully, we will be using all those features at full steam really soon. Now we have another beta tester for the virtual office with Giovanni, and I'm sure he will have many suggestions about it. Yeah, I forgot that one. I finally managed to spread the workload for our current Dandelion deployment in this provider where I manage everything from the scratch with K3S, a lightweight Kubernetes distribution. We had some problems. I installed a high availability solution for the storage that put pressure on the servers. Then Cardano DB-Sync couldn't catch up with blockchain tip, and it was drifting. And yeah, it had some problems to keep up sync. I redistributed the load, and it's working now. We have some beta testers putting pressure on GraphQL, and it's now it's stable for a good while. Whenever the blockchain becomes more active again, probably we'll have a hard time to keep up a tip. But yeah, this helps to build a resilient, highly available deployment that anyone will be able to deploy tomorrow in whatever data center in the world.
And like you mentioned, this was another group effort and example of people showing up who had already broken Dandelion or who had questions about it. And yeah, there's been we should probably list their names next week. I should have done that today. But a bunch of people in the Discord who have been asking great questions. Thanks to all of you.
Great, and coming again to the Gimbalabs.com, as I mentioned before, we're now having ready the major part of the design structure, and development is ready to go. I'm sure Gabe is so enthusiastic about it, and probably now coding. So more to come on that. I think in June it should really then be ready, and can't wait to show you that. I don't know. I have something to say from playground to project. I know, James, please add anything you would like there. But to sum it up, I think playground turns out to be like the real lab for everybody. And since playground ventures becoming more mature, actually they are now turning into projects. And with said that, James, I hand over to you to give us some more details.
That was perfect. And this was a breakthrough we had this week, right? Our core value is to try to make the possibility of building on Cardano available to as many people as possible, right? We want to bring people into this community. We want people to find their role and figure out how they can contribute. The sticky and really interesting problem is that sometimes that value is at odds with actually getting stuff done, right? So, okay, how do we bring people in and also begin to deliver on things? And we've been trying to do both at the playground, right? Trying to make meaningful progress on specific tasks while also answering all of the background questions that people might have about, hey, what's going on here in the first place? So we're beginning to have a better idea for what happens when an idea for a project is ready to really become its own thing. And we don't have a full answer to that question yet, but we're really excited to be working on it. And everybody who is beginning to step from, a loose relationship to being in the playground to actually having a role on a project, we're really eager to have your feedback and your advice on how to make that the best possible experience. But yeah, thanks for helping us to get that right. And that relates to onboarding, right? We want to be able to clearly welcome anybody who shows up here and minimize overwhelm, while at the very same time sending the message that, hey, our expectations are high here. If you want to be part of this community, you do something, right? And what you do can fully come from your gifts and your talents and from your experience. Maybe you're really good at asking questions. All right, do it, right? Maybe you're really good at design. We want to try to find ways for you to contribute. Maybe you're really good at organizing people. All of these things, and sorry, I'm just thinking off the top of my head, right? I'd like to have a better list of possibilities there. But we're really excited to provide that accessibility, but also this immediate sense of ownership to people. So more to come on that. As always, we really, really value your feedback, what makes sense, what doesn't, what's working, what's not. So keep it coming. So as we look ahead, a lot of this builds on what we were just talking about. So Roberto, I'll hand it off to you first.
Okay, so the immediate step is to onboard Giovanni and start thinking big or bigger about Dandelion and how we can push it to the next level, which is actually building the network. I mean, building templates for deploying things, that's easy. How you really build a network that can serve as backbone for decentralized applications, because there are enough deployments out there. That's a different challenge. So yeah, that's gonna be fun to, first of all, to put the incentives for people to actually deploy this thing and start offering it for wallets and future DeFi applications. Yeah, it's part of that. From my humble opinion and perspective, is like building the business hat for these operators. In the same way that staple operators need to go out there and sell their thing. You need to build that hat, to wear that hat of building relationships and find your partners to actually find contracts and income. We will build technology to monetize that using Cardano native assets. That's our main goal, but also, like, while we learn how to do it, teaching people to run their business, that's going to be another challenge that will be much more fun, probably.
Man, you're giving people the opportunity to create new work for themselves, right? If you give people infrastructure, some business skills, and an income stream, that's a pretty good starting point to then launch people into whatever they want to do, right? On top of that. So this is a really ambitious stack you're building with really ambitious results. So thank you. Also, Roberto, thank you. One of my favorite things about working with you is that you're always like 3 months ahead of me with ideas, but you're always so patient with me too. So I'm only now recognizing the full breadth of the value of Dandelion, and you know how far your vision goes. But on a more microscopic level, I think the first time you mentioned Gherkin to our team was probably 3 months ago, when you said, you know, what our team really needs is to write specs in Gherkin. I was like, that's probably a good idea, man, but gosh, when do we figure that out? And sure enough, I mean, I finally got there this week. Thanks as always, that this is such an exciting. I think this might be the glue that really helps us start to operationalize the playground. And you were talking about Bash as pseudocode earlier in this meeting. We've also started thinking about Miro as pseudocode, right? When we have a group meeting in the playground, we're able to sketch things out. That sticky note logic is really nice, right? You can put some ideas on the page, you can connect them to each other, and that's really cool. It seems to me that Gherkin might be the intermediate step that we've been missing to kind of take the ideas that have started to form and get them to a more formal specification so people can really build stuff with that. And that's definitely been a missing part of our work for the last few weeks. But we are here, and those of us who are working on the one-to-one scheduling DApp, we started diving into this together yesterday, and we're going to follow up again later this afternoon to test the process of what it feels like to write out Gherkin syntax in order to I guess the idea is that you are building a shared understanding of what the project is. And if you do it right, writing Gherkin together, everybody should be able to leave a meeting and say, okay, I have pretty good clarity on what we're doing next. So thanks for that. Excited that we keep operationalizing with that. And all of this is allowing us to create systems to support other projects. So we're just really excited to be growing our bandwidth to support other folks. I mentioned Ohm Design. Tomorrow is another example. We're working with Swarm Sessions. Felix sent salutations earlier. Salutations back at you, Felix. We're excited to pop in on Swarm Sessions tomorrow. I'm not sure if I have the time right there. I gotta double check that time. So yeah, or look at Swarm Sessions, and you'll get the right time there. And as always, we are just so excited to max out our time, to keep building, keep pioneering with Plutus. I know Giovanni's learning, and yeah, Juan called out these videos that Giovanni's making as follow-up from the Plutus pioneers. It's such engaging work. It's really the beginning of something very, very big that we're all in on. So excited to keep going with that. All right, so what's everybody else's next steps?
Yeah, as always, please check our flowers deployment from Gimbalabs. Try to break them with all your love, please. That will help us to improve it. Seed your own garden, and like Joey did, it takes not too much time to deploy it locally and start like tinkering how you can use it, improve it, break it, and yeah, get ready, because hopefully we will have a market for this. You need to be ready to sell your services.
Yeah. And of course, stay with Gimbal.
Yeah,
please.
Quick update on that. I mean, looking at the numbers, it's really thrilling. The cost for the first month of running Gimbal Pool is about $100 US. Okay, and within the first few epics, I think Gimbal's been up and running for 4 or 5 epics now, and we've only minted 2 blocks. But what that means is that we have an extra income of a little bit more than 700 ADA so far. That goes directly into the Gimbalabs treasury. Subtract the cost of running the pool, about $100 US from that. This is about $600 that we now have to go. Listen, I'm talking like ADA's still worth $1. I can't get all this stuff right now. But right, this is money that we now have in the Gimbalabs treasury to directly fund the work we're doing. And we will start more formally. We can put some numbers up on these slides in the future to show the income of Gimbal. I want to be really transparent about that. But you know, when I saw those rewards, it's thrilling to know what that money can be used for, and you know how valuable $100 or $500 is to us right now for helping other people kind of sustainably contribute to our work. So when we talk about staking with Gimbal, that's really what we're talking about. The Gimbalabs pool ticker, thanks for that question, Peter, is GMBL, just like you see here on the screen. Okay, so yeah, thanks for asking that. Do look it up. I think we're a little more than halfway to a 1.5 million ADA stake that would allow us to expect 1 block per epic. So we're a little more than halfway there, and it'll be exciting to at least get to that point. So thanks. I know Juan's right. There's only, there's a lot of different pools, and all 3 of these, I would say go make sure to stake to Peace and to Easy One first, and then if you have anything left over, throw a little bit of Gimbalabs, okay?
Yeah, and don't forget about Lift.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
We rise by lifting others. That's an awesome leitmotif.
Yeah, that's
what
good.
Kyle gets for going, to other work that he's got. Yeah, and what we've tried to emphasize in this update is taking initiative, right? We've seen people show up and ask questions. We've seen people start conversations. We've seen people identify problems, and that's what we ask of you, okay? Find your entry point. Be patient with us as we try to provide clarity to you when you show up, and let's work together to build stuff together. So we always like to spend a few minutes for Q&A at the end of this session. The chat's been nice and active today. Thanks everybody for your warm wishes and comments. But does anybody have any questions? Welcome, Ron. We're glad you're here too. Thanks.
For Q&A, we already have that.
That's exactly right.
We already have A.
Juan, the one-to-one meeting, I made a new channel actually in the Discord called Today at Gimbalabs. It's not read only, so actually anybody is free to write there. Let's just try this experiment. So if there's a meeting going on, feel free to post it. But that one-to-one scheduling DAP meeting is at 6 p.m. UTC time. So a little less than 4 hours from now.
By the way, I love random thoughts, and I just seen that Gimbalabs Twitter account has 42 tweets, and I love that number. So just wanted to throw it out there.
The universe. Nice. Well, we crossed the 30-minute mark. Yes, actually, we changed the time last week from what it used to be to this new time, and this is the time we're going to use moving forward. So 1:30 p.m. UTC is now the official start time for these weekly updates until we tell you otherwise. Okay. So yeah, we will be consistent about that moving forward. Sorry about the recent change.
I'm really happy no one is asking what is a monad.
Don't tempt them.
Maybe if there is any Plutus Pioneer, maybe they have forgotten after 2 weeks. There was a funny, intense lecture last week.
I had to go through it a few times. I mean, there's that moment when the concept a word represents really clicks and you can finally own it in your own brain. I'm not there for monads yet. I need to get to that point where it's like, monad, yep, got it. All right, here's what if a fork, I know what to do with like a kitchen fork. Like that's an easy concept for me, but monad, we're not there yet. Juan, do you want to run this project? I think what you're getting at here, I think it's a long-term goal for all of us to engage with business owners and local politicians and everybody else who's so busy doing the good work they do in the world, right, to have learned about Cardano yet, right? There's a lot of good reasons to not know about Cardano. You're busy contributing to the world in other ways. And we want to reach those people. And I can't wait to walk into City Hall someday and share the work we've been doing with the leaders of my hometown, okay? But we know that in order to get to that point, we've got to do some building first. We need some infrastructure and we need some use cases that people can understand. So Dandelion is trying to deliver on the infrastructure piece. Playground is trying to begin to build out the use cases that people can understand. And if we focus on these two things now, then by the time we get to the Alonso era of Cardano, and we actually have things we can put in people's hands, we'll be ready to take on this work of talking to our elected officials and everybody else that we've got to meet with. So yeah, really excited. Let's start strategizing now. And if you have ideas and you want to convene a group to start those conversations, we would really welcome you to do that. Good, and this is a good prompt for next week. Yeah, we've done a few meetups, or excuse me, a few weekly updates where we share out on current proposals. We chose not to do that today because we're right in the middle of the advisor phase, but certainly as voting hits, we will once again plug the collection of proposals that we have in Catalyst. Good deal. Ron, are you a Plutus Pioneer too? That's great. Good. And yeah, and to this question about the Gimbalabs Discord, that's right. You can learn about Dandelion there. There's a little bit of documentation for Dandelion on the Gimbalabs website, but it's not sufficient yet. It doesn't tell the whole story. And so we're kind of focusing on the redesign of Gimbalabs first, and then we really want to improve that documentation pretty dramatically to make it really easy for people to get involved. Cool. It's good to know that you're in that Pioneer program, and we're eager to hear about what you want to build or contribute to. Good, good. All right, thanks everybody. I think this was our longest weekly update yet. We won't go for 40 minutes every time, but thanks for sticking around, and see you real soon out there in Cardano land. Take care, everybody.
Bye-bye, everyone. Thank you very much. Peace.